Imagine you're trying to find a perfect recipe for your favorite dessert, and you have a lot of variables that can affect how outcome, like the type of sugar, the type of eggs, or cooking time. If you don't get these variables just right, then you might end up with some dessert that is too sweet or too runny or even inedible. So in deep learning, we have similar recipes that involve adjusting various settings to achieve good results. The settings are called, you can guess that right, hyperparameters. Hyperparameters control the behavior of our machine learning models, like how they learn from our data and make predictions. So they're essential because different values can lead to vastly different performance levels. So here's the thing, finding the perfect hyperparameter value is often a trial and error process. So it's not always easy to determine what works best for our specific problem. So imagine trying out different types of sugar, egg amounts, and cooking times until you get the desired result. You might need to try combinations before finding one that works. Similarly, in deep learning, we might need to adjust various hyperparameters like learning rates, number, or hidden units or batch sizes. If we don't find the right balance, our model performance might suffer. So, the solution for our hyperparameter spaces will be to identify patterns and trends. By analyzing many combinations, we can discover relationship between hyperparameters. And the second one can be the finding optimal ranges. We might identify specific range or interval for each hyperparameter that leads to better performance. And the next one can be avoiding unnecessary trials. Using these insights, we can skip or less promising values and focus more on the likely candidates. And when we are trying new hyperparameters, we should just try some scenarios. So after significant change, if underlying data, hardware, or problem domain changes, it's time to revisit our parameters every few months. Like if you are working on the same problem for extended periodically, trying new values can help identify potential improvements. So hyperparameters play a crucial role in deep learning and finding the right values for significant model performance. So by exploring these systematic approaches to these hyperparameters, we can improve our chances for success. So remember, it is okay to try multiple combinations before finding the optimal values, but it is all the part of learning process. So we're going to explore much more about these things in the further upcoming videos. So let's consider these variables and so on, and we can say hyperparameter learning rate alpha, then number of iterations, then number of hidden layers, then number of hidden units, and yeah, we have the choice of activation function, right? So the hidden layers are capital L, then these are hidden units are n1, n2. These are all our hyperparameters, if you guys are thinking. Then later in the upcoming videos, we are going to discuss the things like momentum, then mini batch regularizations, and yeah, in applied deep learning, it is like unlike the any field of computers, we have a lot of different parameters to consider. So we have this concept. So we have idea, we have code, and we have experiment within that. So we do this thing. So let's imagine our cost function and the number of iterations. So this will give us the good learning rate, and this is the imperial process. So uh, that's how it works. So vision, speech, natural language processing, advertisement, search, or all these things, we use some or other ways of doing those things. So deep learning research is still advancing, and maybe over the time we'll be able to give better guidance or best hyperparameters to use. But it's also possible that CPUs, GPUs, and the network and data sets all are changing, and it is possible that the guidance won't converge for some time. So you need to keep trying out different values and evaluate them on hold on the cross validation set or something and pick value that works for your problem. So that was the brief description about the hyperparameters. So in the upcoming videos we are going to discuss how systematically explore space hyperparameters. But now you actually have pretty much all the tools you need to do their programming. So yeah, that's for this one, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep learning and keep exploring.